Hello, my name is Grian and welcome back to another Minecraft building tutorial. We are going to be making this suburban house today. I know I've done a few designs before, but it's always nice to see some new fresh designs coming out there. So as you can see, this one is made out of concrete, one of my new favorite blocks, and I'm keeping it very monotone. This build is entirely grey for the most part, but it does look pretty cool nonetheless. So let's get straight into it, shall we? We're going to start off by making a base, as we normally do, in the shape of a rectangle. The two shorter sides, which are the front and back, are 10 blocks long, while the sides are 13, an even and odd number respectively. We then want to raise up this entire box to be 10 blocks tall, and this may take a little while and you will need a lot of grey concrete, or whatever colour you decide to make this house. One of the beautiful things about concrete is that you can choose multiple colours and it still works. Now we want to make a pyramid at the front and back of our build. We have a 10 block width because we want it to have a 2 block center, because the roof, which is made out of staircases, will want to meet directly in the middle. It's not very often that we do this, but it works on this build. We then want to go ahead and start making a second rectangle on either side. It's up to you which one, and as you can see, it starts off 2 blocks in from the front, is then 7 blocks long and goes all the way to the back 11 blocks deep. And then we want to raise it up to a total of 6 blocks in height and leave a space there for us to add a garage door later. Then we want to just equalize all the sides to be the same height, which is 6, and then create a little floor where we're actually going to put a balcony later on, and we'll leave the garage there for the time being. On the other side of the build, we're going to create a little facet that sticks out on this side. If you go 2 blocks in from each side of this build and then create a little rectangle that goes 3 blocks outwards and connect it all up, we can create a little space that won't actually create much more interior space, but will make the exterior look a lot nicer. Raise it all up to be 7 blocks in height, and then finish off by filling in any of the extra walls. We're going to do exactly the same thing that we did by adding another pyramid, except this one will finish with a single block in the middle. And as you can see, it all measures up nicely and fits together. This is all of the grey concrete that we're going to need for now, so we can actually start working on the rest of the build, but you can see where it's going from this point. Let's start off by filling in this very annoying space that we left for the garage, and I'm actually going to be using some sideways quartz pillar because when placed like this, it actually looks like the front of a garage. The next thing to do is to fill in the very obvious gap where the roof is going to be. So start off by, on the side of the build so that there's an overhang, place some upside down stone brick staircases like so, and then place one directly on top as well, completing the overhang. And we're pretty much going to do this for every single pyramid that we made at the side of our house, completing the A-frame, which is very iconic of the suburban house and indeed houses all around the world. We can also connect them up to the side of the building and indeed to the other side of the overhang with some more stone brick, but don't fill in the rest of the roof with it because we're actually going to be using cobblestone staircase instead to fill in the middle, just to give it a little bit of disparity and a bit of texture. If it's all the same, it could look very, well, samey. We do want to have some mixture inside our palette, even though this build is particularly simple in its design. Now there's quite a lot of cobblestone staircase on this build, so I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for all of your support recently. It has been amazing, and if you have any ideas for future videos, please leave them in the comments down below. So once we have actually finished putting in all of these cobblestone staircases, the build will start to look like it's coming together, and you'll notice that on the middle bit here I've got a set of stone brick blocks connecting up that 1 block center to the rest of the build. And you can see, as I said, it's very grey, but it's really starting to come together. And of course there is loads of options for color on this. Just change the color of the concrete and the roof and you have a winner very easily. So now it's time to actually start detailing this build, and we're going to start off by making a patio, but it's not really a patio that you would see in real life. It's very Minecrafty. So we're going to start off by 3 blocks from the corners, add a cobblestone wall with 2 fences, spruce fences, and then take your stone brick slab and create a diagonal going up half a block each time, connecting the top of the pillar to the wall itself. And then we want to connect the 2 up itself with a little nook in the middle made up of some upside down stone brick staircases. And then we're going to take some cobblestone slab and fill in this space, making sure that we rise it up half a block every time surrounding that nook, as you can see there. And there we have our little patio entrance to our house, and it just creates a nice bit of disparity on the front of the build. And now we're going to actually add a door by breaking in some blocks and adding a little space for the spruce door to go, and then using even more grey blocks, creating a pathway made out of grey concrete powder. And then we're going to go back all the way to the garage door, add some buttons and a tripwire hook for some very minimalistic detailing. Then we're going to turn our attention to the top, where we're going to add some glass all the way around the top to create a little balcony made out of white stained glass pane. And now it's time to add some of the windows using exactly the same glass, and then some flower pots beneath it, and a slight detail over the top of this bottom one. We will not be adding trapdoors over all of our windows. The placement of your windows is kind of up to you, but I recommend a very simple one where you just place them 2 blocks apart from each other, seeing as we have a 10 block wide facade. And then adding some upside down staircases, you can add a little bit of a disparity, a bit of a breaker in between the build, along with some flowers and some more windows. The detailing on this build is very minimalistic, meaning a few windows and a few bits of grass outside the front, maybe a button here or there, nothing too over the top. Even adding some cobblestone wall can look like guttering, and some leaves can look like bushes out the front, and just the occasional window is enough for this build. You really don't want to overdo it. Adding a window in the centerpiece at the top is a good idea, and again another breaker between the A-frame and the square of the build, and then a few more gutterings and windows. Again, there's lots of options for this, and we also need to add ourselves in a back door to this build. And we can do exactly the same as we did with the front door, but for the sake of saving some interior space, I wanted to have this actually crop outwards and then add another little roof over the top in exactly the same style as we have done for the rest of the build, and adding some cobblestone in there as well, along with a final bit of window. I'm not actually going to be adding a garden to this, I'll leave that up to you, but I will add just one more window to the back of this build to finish it off, just 2 glass panes on the back of the garage. It doesn't need that many windows. Now on top we've got a balcony, but we need to add some tables and chairs and finish off that wall by adding the final bit of breaker upside down cobblestone staircase, along with some quartz staircase that will make up the bulk of the chairs with some signs either side, and adding in a door. Now we're going to create some pathway or asphalt or whatever you want to call it, a driveway made out of dark grey concrete powder. Put as far as you want out to nothingness. I mean, I'm in a creative world, but obviously it would probably go as far as the street itself. And now there's only the finishing touches, which is adding a few bits of flower here or there, maybe a button or two, but honestly, that is the design in its entirety. You've got all the dimensions that you need. Of course, there's loads of scope for adding more to this. There's loads of scope for making it bigger, better, but in its simplicity, I think this house has a lot to say for itself. It is grey, which some people might say it makes it look good, other people might say it looks a bit dull. There's so many options for taking the color elsewhere, as I've said before in this video. Now, a lot of you will be wondering, what do you do with the interior? And that's what I'm going to show you now. So I've obviously put some shaders on for this, and that was kind of a bad idea because it makes it really dark inside, but it does make the game look a bit nicer. So as you can see, it's a bit of an open plan. Having only a 10 by 13 square footage is really going to hamper how much space you have, but that being said, you can actually fit quite a lot in here, especially if you decide to put the shower underneath the stairs like I did here, added a toilet, a sink and stuff, got a living room. We've actually utilized the garage and actually put a car in here. Don't look at it too closely because it is very, very squished. Got a bit of storage in here. it can actually look really nice. The kitchen and everything, it's one big giant room. And then we managed to squeeze in this staircase on the left-hand side using that bit of the facade that sticks out. And then we have one giant room with the ceiling being the feature piece with loads of upside down staircases and a bit of acacia log as well. Big old wardrobe. And you may notice that everything is still grey themed. We've got a lot of grey colour here, but we have also got some plants and some carpets and that kind of thing. So there is a lot of options here, but it is a small house, but it's very, very cozy. Of course, there's no real right or wrong. You could have an entirely empty house full of furnaces or crafting tables if you want. This was more for the decorative interior designer. Anyway, that is the house in its entirety. I really hope you enjoyed this video and this design. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'd love to hear some more video ideas and designs that you would like to see on the channel. Thank you very much again for watching, and goodbye!